everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. And of course, we have our full panel. Happy Friday the 13th, guys.
No, hey, that's right. It is Friday the 13th. I forgot all about that.
Yes, Friday the 13th.
So we should start off with you telling us about your bartending action before we get into the absolute meltdown that is the 49ers.
So last night, I have to say, last night was probably, like I said, it's, being the Philly sports guy has had some moments that have been just over the top.
Last night might top it for you.
Last night was probably, I'm calling it like a footnote in time. Like it's one of these things that I may never forget about. For as long as I live, and will be one of those stories that I kind of tell. I'm standing there and I'm like, so Allen Iverson comes in and he's starting to take pictures with people, and he's putting up his entourage, which is about 8 people, to get a picture at, in front of the step and repeat. And I'm just kind of standing there. I'm working another bar. So I had to come down to the other bar because I had one of my bottles of liquor, which was a big hit last night.
Nice.
SweetTeaShot.com in my profile name. But anyways, so I'm grabbing the bottle and I'm ready to just run back upstairs, and I'm seeing and I'm taking some pictures. So I'm like, it's slow to try to get through everybody because everybody's kind of crowded in one spot. And he sees me and he's like, no, that guy's got to get in the picture with us. Now, he doesn't know me by Philly sports guy or whatever, but he's like, that guy's got to come in. And he literally come. I get in the picture. Yeah, we take the pictures, and then at the end of the picture, he literally gives me this monster bear hug, and just dabbing me up and all this stuff. We take a couple of more pictures. I'm fumbling for my phone because it's rare that I fumble.
Sure.
I'm not. I don't get starstruck, and even Allen Iverson doesn't starstruck me. But sometimes I get caught off guard. And this wasn't anything I was expecting. So I got caught off guard. And I'm like, oh, I got to get my phone out. I'm not used to not having my phone on the ready. But everybody else got video of it. It was really an awesome moment at that point. And then a little bit later, Rasheed Wallace shows up. And he comes in wearing Kansas City gear. Kansas City Chiefs gear. And I immediately, first off, I don't even know it's Rasheed Wallace right away. Guy's really tall, and when I first see him, I'm downstairs. So there's a downstairs and an upstairs bar. I'm downstairs. Well, everybody else is upstairs at this point. He's downstairs, gets a quick drink from me, and then and starts talking. He's like, man, I see you everywhere, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, he's wearing all these Chiefs gear. And I'm like, don't worry. We'll see you in the Super Bowl. We're going to beat you in the Super Bowl. He's like, beat who? And I'm like, the team you're wearing. And he starts laughing and goes upstairs. He goes up. He does. He meets with AI for a minute. They do a whole little secret handshake, stuff like that. Come out he spends a few minutes. The crowd does an Eagles chant. Afterwards, he comes outside and he's just, I think he's ready to roll out. And I catch him and I'm like, yo, Rasheed, what I mean? I'm like, what's up with the Chiefs stuff? You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I take a picture with him real quick, and then we start going back and forth. And I don't have the camera going, so I don't want to be like, hey, this is me talking to Rasheed Wallace going back and forth. And I'm like going, yo, Rasheed, you know that the referees have been cheating, have been helping every way they can to make the Chiefs win. I said, he goes, well, you know that the referees help the champs. I said, well, you wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Because the referees hated you. He's like, I got a ring, right? They helped out a little bit.
Yep.
So it was It was just a really cool moment. And then I was able to get Alan to sign one of my bottles of TNT. So it really was just a cool moment to be the Philly sports guy. Where it's rare that I'm in a room with really famous people, and those famous people are saying, "Wow, man, you're here. You're in the scene. You made it." You know what I mean?
Nice.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of really cool to be a part of.
Hell yeah. No, that's awesome, man.
So
Yeah.
along
So
with
let's-
getting a lot of great feedback about this alcohol.
See, and I had a really cool day. Comcast came out, replaced all my gear. I'm sitting here without glitches so far this morning. It's a big day.
Interestingly enough, one of the guys that was at this event was from Seattle,
Okay.
and he's like, what did I got to do to take one of those bottles home with me? And I'm like, I don't know if I can
Exactly.
send you one of those bottles home. It's like that would be considered bootlegging.
No, you
I
can
will not confirm or deny if there will be a bottle of TNT in Seattle.
I mean, there should be in my mailbox.
That'll happen soon enough. That'll happen.
No,
soon
wait,
enough.
what the hell? Hey, if he's getting one, hey, can I get one of my mailbox? Everybody knows. Listen,
No, yeah, like you can absolutely send stuff like that through the mail.
yes.
What is
What's
this?
that, Dustin? What is
What the
that?
hell is that?
I know
Wow.
he went silent and dark, and he's got a Patriot symbol up.
I feel like I need to just kick him out of the show at this point.
What was
Like,
he taken by
Yeah,
Frankie or
that's
something?
what
He was
makes
taken
it
over by
anyway.
Frankie.
what is wow? Okay. Yep, I got nothing for that. So let's talk about this Niners team that is an absolute dumpster fire. So the first thing that we'll do is we will highlight our guy Debo, who went on social media saying how much he needed the ball and he wasn't getting enough targets and all of that. And, promptly.
Blair him out, and the pass caught and then dropped over the middle. Debo Samuel would have had the first down and maybe a touchdown had he caught it. Now the crowd, of course, is responding to the fact, give me the ball, and look what happened.
Well, you're right. I mean, it's man coverage.
You can't complain about not getting the ball and then also not catch the ball when it comes to you.
If I hop off quick, I just have somebody that's going to be coming to look at my furnace shortly. That's who just called me on the phone. That's why I answered it.
Yeah. Oh, is he coming this afternoon? So you got to get off now?
No, he's called and said he'll be in about 5 to 10 minutes, and all I got to do is I just got to let him in the house, and then he does his own thing. I don't have to wait.
So what
for
is
him
he, a
to actually
Patriots
continue.
fan?
Yeah.
Because I'm
the
trying
hell
to
is
figure
that?
out
Yeah,
what
what's
the
up
frick
with
is
the
going on
Patriots?
over there.
Why?
Why is your
Window when you're not there, a Patriot symbol.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I noticed that too. It's because it's probably still linked up to the ESEN account when I was on their StreamYard. So when I log into StreamYard, it still shows up with some of their stuff on that end.
Yeah. No. Cool.
Hey, so basically, he's picking up the Frankie Cruz Jr.
Yeah, like because when I've also had some other stuff from other people that were on that network too when I sign off.
Yeah. So you can change that, right?
I never
we
even
understand you're not an actual Vikings fan, but
Oh,
I
whatever.
mean, Patriots.
Yeah,
is
I
crazy.
think that's more further confirmation. I mean, it's interesting.
That was either the phone call that I was gonna get or it was gonna be the one from my lab work yesterday. So I'm happy it was the stinking furnace guy instead.
Well,
Uh-huh. Okay.
okay.
Yep.
Hey, I'm just for the panel here. I might have cancer again, so I'm just kind of bracing for that right now.
Well, that's not just for the panel. It's this is all over.
Well,
everywhere.
yeah. So that was the phone call that I was hoping it wasn't. So
Well,
I mean,
let's hope that that's not the case.
yeah, I went too much sun when I was a kid. Ended up with skin cancer 2 years ago. Went through like all the procedures to get that stuff all taken care of, and then when I went to get my physical yesterday, the doctor said there's spots that are there now that weren't there before, so now I have to go get lab work and go back in for more shit.
You know what? It's funny. my old man has melanoma like that as well. And literally at the party last night, one of the security literally just went to and had a procedure to remove some melanoma from his head. Actually, he had like stitches in his head.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you're, I don't, all cancer sucks, but if you're going to get one,
Skin cancer is the one to get because it's the easiest one to cure if you catch it early enough.
No question.
correct.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. There is you got to get it early enough, And
Well, even if you get it in stage 4, it's still the easiest
very
one.
treatable.
It's very treatable because all you do is basically just cut the cancer spots out of your skin and whatnot, and just make sure it hasn't spread like internally. But it's just one of those where it's just you don't need chemo or anything for it. It's pretty much you just go and get your skin, like the spots that they need to be removed out of your skin. You get that removed, and then if they do feel that you need like chemo or stuff later, that means it's spread internally at that point.
Yeah, that's like colon and prostate cancer. If you get those early enough, you're good. But if you don't get those early enough, you're just done.
Well, those are wildly different because
the problem with the problem.
I'm just saying though that, but I mean, outside of skin cancer, if you get those two cancers, if you get it early enough, you can make a full recovery. But if you don't, then of course,
the problem with prostate and colon cancer though, with getting it early enough, that's the problem. A lot of times you don't even have symptoms with colon and prostate cancer for well after 2-3 years after you have it sometimes, and by that time you might be in stage 3 already.
That's why it's very important. Once you get like 40 years old, you got to make sure you get your checkups. Yeah, just do your checkups, and you're going to be.
That was like my assistant coach for summer baseball, and my kids' team found out this year that he's had prostate cancer for 5 years.
Damn.
And he actually has stage 4 now because he never had symptoms until just past summer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what happens to a lot of people, right? Even some of the symptoms they start to have, they kind of ignore. They're like, I don't know, it's kind of a weird pain, but we're all older, so you're like, I stubbed my toe, it's just going to hurt for the rest of my life. So, and then you end up with like nagging pains that you just ignore because you're just like, I'm old, this is dumb.
What ultimately brought him in to get looked at was he couldn't even cut his grass anymore without like having to stop like every 15 minutes and just like sit down for 30 minutes to get a drink. Because like he was like so out of breath after cutting grass for like 10-15 minutes. Then he's like, that's not normal because his yard's not that big. It's like a yard that you can finish typically in like 40 minutes, but it would take him sometimes 2-3 hours to cut it. Just because he'd cut for 10 minutes, it would feel like he ran like 20 miles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I would be. I'd be headed to the doctor for that. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's why, like I said, when you hit 40 years old, you got to get those exams because, like you said, you might get that pain, but you're going to probably wave it off as like no big deal. But if you get those checkups, that definitely will help you. So that's a big thing to get.
And Rob, it did sound like it was liver, especially, like Stat Guy said the other day, his eyes were very yellow. So, I mean, And glad you're okay, Wayne. Glad you're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah, good.
All right. Well, that took a weird turn from
the 49ers stinking.
49ers.
Well, I mean, we can tie cancer into the 49ers if you want to, because
with this next video clip, actually.
Devondre Campbell is now a cancer for the 49ers.
Campbell, he didn't play, and he went into the locker room at some point.
Yeah, he said he didn't want to play today.
Play today?
Yeah.
During the game or before?
No, it was in the third quarter.
Has that ever happened to you where players said they didn't want to play in a game?
No.
That is wild. I mean, like AB was an outlier in the way of dude's crazy, right? You're just like, okay, like all the wires aren't connected, whatever. This one, what a weird way to basically end your career, right? Because he's on a 1-year deal, and it's not like he was playing great.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like you finished the game. Maybe you're not happy, but I mean, you want to finish out that $5 million contract, right?
Or at least say you're hurt, even if you're not hurt. Don't just come out and be like, I don't feel like playing today.
Right?
Be like, my hamstring hurts, or like my knee is bothering me or something. At least make some bullshit up. Don't just be like, I don't feel like playing today.
Yeah, my Yahoo hurts.
Anything.
I'd be like, well, I don't feel like paying you today, so we're good.
Well,
I mean-
the thing with Campbell too is it would have been so easy because back during his final year with the Packers, he missed like 6 games with a back injury.
Sure.
I don't know if it was like a disc injury or what it was, but because he's had back problems in the past, all he would have had to say was, "My back is tightening up on me and it's bothering me," and it would not have been a big deal. They would have held him out knowing that his past back issues.
Sure. Plus, that's a soft tissue thing, so you can't prove otherwise anyway.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's one of those situations where you're like, we appreciate the honesty, but maybe just lie a little bit. You know, it's kind of like when Richardson was like, I came out because I was tired. It's like, yeah, don't do that, man. You got to change that. I don't want to see that.
Hey, listen, at least you have to be next to him. I'm next to
There
him.
you go.
Deep
So,
douche.
I mean, at least he didn't pull an AJ Brown.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Or what's the other
like
one?
Antonio Brown.
Or Deshaun
Yeah,
Watson.
Antonio Brown. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. No. Like that's why I said AB. He just didn't have all the wires connected. So you're like, he did that, and you're like, well, I mean, he's crazy, so that makes sense. But you look at this, and you're just like, man, you really in the middle of an NFL game, you're just like, you know, people would do anything to get there, and you're just like, yeah, I don't want to play football today. And it wasn't even before the game, right? It's like in the middle of the game, you're like, yeah, I just, you know, not feeling it. Meh.
Third
Kind of reminds me
quarter.
of like maybe even like a Deshaun Watson where he just leaves the game and goes to the locker room and the coach is just like, what the hell? You know, how do you just quit on the team like that? It's crazy.
Well, his was with the waning seconds of a game.
Yeah. But
So,
I mean, but you know what I'm saying? But it's still, you're still quitting. I mean, whether it's the middle or the end, you're still quitting on the team and just walking away. Like, what the hell?
Well, no, because they weren't getting the ball back, right? Like the game was over. It was a bad look, no question. But oh no, you're talking when he walked off the field during that play that was gonna be, it was like a third and 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, but he came back in the game. Like this guy was just like, yeah, I'm out.
Well, and it must have been an amazing game yesterday because I mean, all I see are field goals,
Field goals and punts.
field goals.
Kickers were
field
busy.
goals. I mean, there was a total of 300 yards passing in total.
Yeah, combined. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It was a terrible game. It was
Yeah.
absolutely a terrible game.
I mean, Cooper Kupp didn't even get he got a couple of targets, but he was he was non-existent, really.
Yeah, he didn't make a catch. Like if you had any of the players in that game outside of the kickers, on your fantasy team, you
you're
guys
done.
smoked this week.
Well, Kyron Williams had a good night.
Williams. If you had
Kyron Williams had a good night.
Williams, you'd be okay.
Yeah.
So I think
Kyron
he had,
Williams
sorry.
oh
It was
yeah,
one play.
he had 108 yards, which is good because he's on my team.
yeah, and I think he had a couple catches too, which I'll add points to that too.
And actually,
Yeah,
in
so-
actuality, even if you had Puka Nakua, Puka got almost 100 yards receiving, plus he had that 111-yard rush. I mean, that would have got you at least 12,
Did he have 100
12
yards
points.
receiving?
Yeah.
97 yards. 97
Okay.
yards.
He
Yeah.
did have that one big catch, but like
Yeah.
otherwise, I mean,
I was
there
debating.
nothing noteworthy.
I was debating starting Brock Purdy or Patrick Mahomes this week. Good thing I stuck with Mahomes because Purdy would have got me 3.2 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that seems right. I'm actually surprised it was a positive number. that late pick was ugly.
Oh, yeah.
See, this goes back to kind of what I've been talking about now the last couple of weeks too. I think after last night, Kyle Shanahan's gone. I think this season has just kicked him in the balls so much that he doesn't even want to be in San Francisco at this point anymore.
I
don't-
think having a player leave during the game.
Like, I think that's kind of the final straw. Like, I don't think they fire him. Like we've been saying, I don't think they fire him, but I think it's going to go down to basically he's going to do a mutual parting of ways where he's going to be like, yeah, I don't want to be here. Like, this season was just too much for me. I just want to start over.
Well, I mean, imagine being Lynch here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because Lynch
I-
knows he's going to have to address this. He's going to have to address this with Shanahan at the end of the year because he knows the contracts that are coming up, and he's going to have that conversation. Do you want to be here for a rebuild, or do you want to see if we can trade you to the Bears or trade you somewhere else for picks? And I guarantee at this point, Shanahan's going to be like, trade me. Just do what's best for your franchise at this point. I'll go somewhere, start over. You can get your picks, start over, and just go from there.
Well, and that makes you into this next spot of it is, does this make it so Purdy becomes a more affordable guy because he hasn't played well for a section of this season, and now largely in part to the amazing amount of injuries they have, but to your point, they got a lot of contracts they got to figure out. His is one of them. So
DMC was the 49ers. The moment you lost him, there is no Brock Purdy, who is, Mr. Irrelevant MVP. You know what I mean? He's just not that guy anymore. You know what I mean? So ultimately he had to play football, and he can't because he was a 7th round pick.
Yep.
Not to say that all 7th round picks can't play football, but there was a reason why everybody had the opportunity to grab him and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that he's not a good quarterback. I mean, he plays. He's good. He's not great, right? Like
he's way better than a 7th round pick. He's not obviously not like a 1st, 2nd round pick, but he's
probably a 4th round. He's probably
if you redid the draft today, he would probably be a late day 2 draft pick, which would be a late 3rd round or an early 4th round pick. He would not.
Do you re-sign him?
Yeah.
What?
Do you re-sign him?
Yes.
I would.
Ability to go get somebody else. So the question will be, what does he want? If he's asking for the $60 million of everybody else,
then I'm just franchise taking him.
Absolutely not. Maybe you franchise him. If he's looking in that $40 million range,
then you sign him.
Yeah.
Actually, franchising him right now would pay him about $50 million a year.
It's $41 million for the franchise, I believe, is what it's supposed to be next year.
For the first franchise?
Yeah.
It would go up. It would go up because the top 5 are all making over $50 million a year.
Because they were talking about that with Darnold last night, too, in Minnesota, where if they franchise Darnold next year, it would cost Minnesota $41 million to franchise him.
No, that can't be right because you have 5 guys that are making 55.
Let's look it up.
Is that their 2nd year on the tag?
What would be the franchise tag for a quarterback next year?
So you'd be like, Pax, why don't you already know this?
Yeah, right.
I think you're right. I believe it is $50 million for that franchise. I remember hearing something about it.
So it actually may be closer to $41 million because
38. It's $38,301,000 this year. It's supposed to be $41 million next year, is what they said. So if that's the case, if Purdy's asking for $55-60 million, you franchise tag Purdy next year for $41. See what you can do for the weapons around him. See how he performs with new weapons, and if he performs well, then you work out the extension after that. Otherwise, you just kind of ride him until you can't franchise take him anymore.
I mean, they're not bad enough to get anybody, is the thing. So,
all right, the projected franchise tag for a quarterback in 2025, it's his only projected, is $41,304,000.
Yeah,
I feel like that's going to be higher than that. Like I get the projection of it, but it sure with the contracts that came through this year, and because it's supposed to be the average of the top 5, I don't see how it stays there. Because that wouldn't fit their, like the math wouldn't be mathing in that scenario.
That's why, honestly, like it might be beneficial if that is what it ends up staying. It might be beneficial for San Francisco to do it because it would be cheaper for them to franchise tag Brock Purdy. But and then if you have Minnesota situation, it might be more expensive to franchise tag Darnold as opposed to sign him long term.
Yeah, I mean,
how are franchise tags?
Because you could either backload Darnold's contract, you could front load Darnold's contract where he's making more money maybe next year and the year after that, but it could still end up costing the team more as opposed to maybe just franchising Darnold for another year and letting McCarthy sit one more year.
Yeah, I think I would apply franchise for Darnold for sure. And then if he has another great year like he did this year, then I probably would.
Then you worry about your problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Darnold, I feel differently about than Purdy, and the only reason I say that is the Vikings aren't going to fall apart next year, right? Like they're going to be able to keep rolling, whereas the Niners have some very real decisions to make.
Yeah.
So they're at the end of their window. The Vikings are kind of in the middle of theirs, right?
Like the only thing Minnesota is really losing offensively is Aaron Jones, who's on a 1-year deal. But who's to say they don't bring him back either? Because he signed a 1 year $7 million this year. You could easily bring him back on like a 2-year $18 million deal next year.
Well, no, that's my point. Is the Vikings are in a situation where they get to run this back to some degree, whereas the Niners, they don't have that option, right? Like the cap space doesn't allow it. I mean, so I feel differently about signing Darnold to like a 2-year deal or whatever versus Purdy based on, depending on what it is they want. If he wants to be in there for Daniel Jones money, I'm not mad at it. Like, go for it. If he wants to be, in that 55 range, not to say that body of work says he didn't earn it, because when you look at like Trevor Lawrence, I can't say that he's done anything that made me think he should have got that. Tua, similarly, right? Like he had one good season, so I mean, if you're basing it off of that, then yeah, he's probably earned it. I just don't think I wouldn't pay him that.
I don't think really any of the quarterbacks are worth what their contract is. It's just that's what the quarterback market is. And like when Patrick Mahomes signed his deal, there wasn't too many people that said he wasn't worth what he signed for because of the numbers that he put up prior to signing that deal. But now, if Mahomes would sign that same deal today, you'd be looking at that contract and say the Chiefs are getting him for a freaking bargain because of what he's making compared to what some of these other quarterbacks are making. No,
of course. Well, I mean, you would say that about Geno also. Like when you look at production versus dollar value, I mean, you can't argue with he is outperforming the dollar figure on his contract.
This year, maybe not. This year, maybe not. This year, maybe not for Mahomes, but in years past, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and Joe, just real quick. I'm sorry, Jay, before you go ahead and talk. And Joe, I guess we'll never know.
I think the Eagles would be fine because they were still a double-digit win team without Barkley.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I mean, Dak Prescott got, the big contract like that. So if he got it, why wouldn't Purdy? Hell, Purdy, got further in the playoffs than Dak did. But yet, so why wouldn't you,
That can be said with every playoff team since he got in the league.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
here's a question for you guys.
I feel like he would get the big contract like that because if Dak's getting it, why wouldn't he get it? Like you said, Trevor Lawrence got it. Why wouldn't he get it? I mean,
well,
how long till somebody gets the first $1 billion contract in the baseball. 4 majors in our, because there have been $1 billion contracts in soccer.
Oh yeah.
So.
Where's Frankie? The Yankees just made a big trade before, and that's what I was gonna say. I think it's a baseball player that's gonna get the first $1 billion contract.
Of course, I agree with you on that. That's
the Brewers.
Yeah, especially since Juan Soto's contract could be $805 million. I mean, that's only $195 million away from $1 billion.
The Brewers are trading Devin Williams to the Yankees.
Yeah, I saw that.
But in terms of it, let's see who's.
I mean, they're probably not in the league yet. Because
I think realistically, Roki Sasaki could, because if he signs a similar because if he gets his minor league contract like he's going to get now because of how young he is being posted, if he performs the way everyone expects him to perform, I could easily see him being the first $1 billion contract. Maybe not like an up.
He's a pitcher.
Yeah, but
no way.
No
way. A pitcher will not be it.
No,
it'll definitely be a position player.
Then it might be the Korean hitter that's going to be posted next year. Then who is the fastest player in history to reach 200 home runs, whether it be in the KBO, the MPB, the MLB, or whatever professional baseball level. He was the fastest player ever to get to 200 homers.
No, and that's why I said the guy that gets it isn't in the league yet.
Yeah, he's posting 2 years early to come out of the KBO next year to reach major leagues next year. So he'll be another one that's on an early posting fee.
I mean, they've been ridiculous for a minute, Joe.
I mean, think about it. I mean, in baseball now, $100 million contract is almost, it is commonplace now where, it used to not be commonplace, I mean.
So every Tuesday night, we have a show called Vetted. And in that show is with Hollis Thomas and Irving Fryer. Now, Irving Fryer was a number 1 draft pick, played football. I mean, could arguably be in the Hall of Fame. He's not, but he could arguably be in there. Like he's close enough to sniff it.
Mhm.
He only ever made his largest contract, and I asked him outright. His largest contract was $1 million. 1 year, $1 million. That was it.
Yeah.
To think about that, Mike Schmidt, who was the first ever baseball player to have a $1 million contract, I think only ever made like $4-5 million his entire career.
Isn't that crazy? That's nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
now the rookies probably.
I was gonna say you could be the 18th pitcher on the staff and make $5 million a year.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's nuts.
Stinging veterans minimums this year are $935K. So even if you like sign a veterans minimum contract and you don't even make the major league roster, you still get $935K.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Wow.
But yeah, I would say it would have to be a baseball player, because I just don't see, like, you got to think about this. Nobody's going to play for 20 years. So you're not going to give somebody a $50 million contract to play for 20 years in football.
Mhm.
Now, as quarterbacks are starting to get more money.
You're right, Rob. $1 million was definitely worth more than it is today.
But
Yeah.
but even back then, $1 million was worth, you're saying 10, probably right.
That's probably about right.
Probably more like 15, 18. I kind of think, but
Well, yeah, because you used to be able to buy a house for like $50K.
Yeah, I remember back in 1978, my dad bought our house for $35,000. I mean, like, what the hell?
I mean, in 1988, I was making $7.50 an hour plus tips, and I was loaded.
Yeah.
So much so that I actually paid to go hitchhiking across Europe between my junior and senior year because I made so much money, and was like, I don't need to buy a car right now. I'm going to go to Europe. Went to Ireland, England, Holland, Belgium, France, Germany, Luxembourg. I went to both East and West Germany. You know?
No,
Now I
it
understand.
was significantly different, right? Like I remember, buying things that I look at today and I'm like, yeah, maybe I just don't care enough to buy that anymore. I mean,
I'm waiting for the tickets prices to spike. They're going to start to spike. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever, well, I know that you haven't, Bo, but I don't know if you guys have ever tried to go to a basketball game at courtside.
No.
No, I tried one time and I realized how expensive that was, and I was like, "Oh hell no!"
It's ridiculous that it's $3,000 a ticket,
Yeah.
and that's the Sixers, and that's right now.
Well,
as the
hell, man,
Sixers.
look, like I told you, the college. Look at Texas A&M. It was like almost $1,000, and that's in the damn freaking nosebleeds. I mean, what the hell?
Well, the
This is
Army
college.
Navy game is about $1,600 just to walk
That's
in the
another
door.
one. I mean, it's crazy. This is college. Like, what
it
the hell?
definitely keeps some of the real fans from being able to go watch.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, they've been doing that for the Super Bowl forever.
Well, yeah, of course. Yep.
It's like I can, $5,000 will get you a good seat in the lower bowl for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But those seats are typically $3,000.
Yeah, the thing that's funny is, like, I'm sure the experience is amazing. I've never gone to a Super Bowl. But at the same time, I just have a hard time wrapping my head around wanting to drop $10,000 for a 3-hour event. right?
Could you
'Cause
imagine? Be like,
one
hey,
thing.
I really got to pee right now, but you know what? I paid 10 grand. I'm just gonna hold.
I'm going to park it right here, right? Like,
Well, going to my very first Super Bowl.
You know?
I went to my first Super Bowl in 2022.
Yep.
And I had a good seat, sat next to Malcolm Jenkins, of all people, which was really cool. You know, it's like, because ultimately, when you go to a Super Bowl, it is like a star-studded cast of people watching the game. If if your team is in it, there's a good chance that if you played a few years for that organization, they are there at that Super Bowl. And they get those tickets at cost, kind of, you know what I mean? It's just like the team's like, okay, we get 25% of the stadium. Anybody who wants to buy them, here's the price. Yeah, we're going to mark it up like 10%, you know, because the team's got to make their money, of course. But ultimately, that's that. Now, I just heard from somebody the other day saying that, or yesterday actually, that you could buy a ticket to the Super Bowl right now as part of a package for $2,500. That's 2 nights stay and ticket to the game. Yeah. You know, I think you get on-field access and stuff like that a little bit. You get to like, ooh, look at this. I can pick up a little bit of grass from the field and keep it in my pocket for a second. But but that's it. Like, it's not anything special, nothing crazy. If you're trying to go down there all week, you ain't. You know what I mean? It's a mess. So
if I paid $2,500, I thought there should be a low end hooker, you know, as part of the package. I'm just saying.
Wow.
High end, but a low
you know what? Is your wife watching the show?
right?
Oh, no, $2,500. She'd be like, yeah, I get a low end hooker. It's okay.
No, Freddie, it was for the whole package. That was actually straight from Malik Joe, for the people in Philly who know him. I was talking to Malik about it, and he was considering getting it. But like I said, it was just 2 nights stay. It was like on-field access, and I got to imagine that was probably from on demand, or not on. It was not on demand. On location. You know, so on location has a bunch of different packages, all the way up to, hey, you could be there. $10,000 gets you access to media day. Gets you access to scratch the ass of one of the ex-players if you want to. You know what I mean?
Although if you're not going to the game, you can do some prop bets during the game. Using the QR code on the screen, you can bet right alongside us here at Coast to Coast with BetUS. 125% of the first 3 deposits, 10% bet guarantee. And so bet right alongside us here on the show. And of course, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, use this QR code here for True Fusion Gym. Free 5-day pass at any of the 3 locations, whether it's Bellevue, Ballard, or University Village. Find your edge, True Fusion Gym.
Nestor Cortez is the main piece going back to the Brewers too.
And if you're going to the any bar, pretty soon, TNT.
Let's go.
Coming to sweetteashot.com. Get on our list. Find out exactly when it will be available in your area.
Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Hey, so the TNT, that's your liquor, right?
That is my liquor.
Okay.
Yep.
It is. Hold on, let me see if I can get it close, and there it is.
Yeah, you can kind of see your face on there.
Oh yeah.
There it is.
The official shot of the Philly Sports Guy.
Now the TNT, is a whiskey, right?
No, it's more like it's more like a vodka-esque.
Okay.
I can't call it vodka. I can't call it vodka because vodka has very specific distilled properties that have to be met, and we do not meet them.
Okay.
Yes, I tell you what. There's I cannot confirm nor deny whether somebody in Seattle may have a bottle soon. You know, like they have a, like they may be going back home. I think it was Tuesday.
Nope.
And so
You can definitely fly with it because I would bring bottles back from Mexico all the time.
yeah, as
Hey,
long
let
as
me
it's
ask you,
checked.
if you had to put a price point on that TNT, would that be comparable to, like, let's say a Tito's, type of liquor, like probably about $20, $25 or $25 a bottle, or $30?
I am looking at my price point being $21.99.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Now that I would definitely pick that up. Definitely.
So
$21.99,
it's,
that's a good price.
I got to back into it, and I got to see if that makes sense. Right now, this first batch is obviously the most expensive batch that we're going to do because all the prices are higher because of the small run.
Right.
But
Oh, sure.
that's why I am making sure that it gets in the hands of people who are interested in joining me in this quest and coming up with some seed money.
I'll join. Let me know. I'm serious. Because I was actually going to invest into a brewery out in Georgia. I wound up not doing it because the guy turned out to be a little shady. But I almost really invested into a brewery. No, and the guy's an army guy. Like, he got out of the army, but it's just the way he was running his business. That's what he was doing. He funded his business through seed money. And then some of the things he started doing at the end, it just wasn't quite matching up business-wise. So I wound up not investing. But I would probably take a flyer on that one, Pag. So let me know. Keep me in the loop.
I will do so. Like I said, including anybody else who watches this show and is interested. Like I said, it's a ground floor opportunity. I will say that there will be minimum amounts. I'm not going to disclose that here, but
that is a good price point, though, because even like a Pinnacle vodka, and Pinnacle is like a medium, low average vodka. That's $17.99. And Jack Daniels, a fifth of Jack Daniels is like what? I think it's like $25 between 25 and 28.
$27.99 here in Pennsylvania.
So your liquor at $21.99 is priced really well. So yeah, I would definitely pick up a bottle of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $20. That's that switchover point of a plastic bottle versus glass bottle.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it is.
Well, it is. It is a little bit. I mean, however, when you get a bottle of Tito's, and I've learned this now, when you get a bottle of Tito's, Tito's uses the cheapest bottles available to the market.
Sure.
They don't care at all about exposure. They have very simple labels. They've got all the stuff that they need for it on that label, and then they have the cheapest bottles, the cheapest caps. Get it out there. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, they're not trying for the Grey Goose action where it's a work of art bottle.
Right.
But the way your bottle is packaged and labeled and things of that nature, Pax, it almost looks like a small batch. Like a small batch whiskey top bottle. It's kind of what yours that bottle reminds me of, like a salt.
There you go. Shark Tank it.
Shark Tank, baby.
I can't do that. You know what? So I tell you what, the problem with Shark Tank, and as great of an idea that may sound like, you got to have like all the P's and Q's together. Like my business plan right now is get the word out there, see who's interested. If you need to see some of the economics, the truth of the matter is that everything's guesswork at the moment, because all I know is that the biggest cost for an alcohol is the marketing. And it's the one thing that I am best at and can keep the costs down tremendously. So that's, the only way. I mean, I'm going after the Fireball market. Truth be told is that, this isn't Fireball. And the only way to go after the Fireball market is to let everybody know, hey, you can buy a bucket of Fireball or a case of dynamite.
And to be honest with you, the one thing I hate about Fireball is you get a nasty hangover with that damn liquor, man. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible hangover. So I hope your bottle is what your liquor doesn't give you that horrible hangover. And maybe it's the sugar in that Fireball, but
try drinking some water, Jay.
Listen, I am an experienced drinker. Of course I drink water. I take 2 Advil and 2 glasses of water before I even go to bed. Okay. And I still sometimes get a bad hangover. It's just I hate that feeling, and I'm hoping maybe since yours is more of like a vodka and getting type instead of a whiskey type, maybe that will hopefully alleviate.
Well, and I was told that. I mean, I made it a little bit on the stronger side, because Fireball is like only 30 proof or 33.
Yeah,
proof.
it's not much in there.
Yeah.
I am, or I'm saying 33 proof. I'm saying 33%. It's probably 60 proof. Mine is 76 proof. Vodka typically,
So it's close.
normal vodka is 80 proof.
Yeah.
Flavored vodka is 70 proof. So I'm
Okay.
somewhere in the middle there. I kept it at 76 proof because I wanted to be very. It still has Philly roots, so 76 is.
No, that makes sense. That's actually,
Rob, it's not Goldschlager. It's Aftershock, right? Like it's
No. It's
the-
like a
the
poor
new
man's Rumpelmans.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh Lord, Rumpelmans. Oh, have we tangled with the devil on that one?
So
Back in the day.
yeah, I am a bigger fan of Black House, but I'm actually a bigger fan of Blackberry Brandy. The difference between Blackberry Brandy and Black House is about 3 hours of time that you can't remember.
I will say, if you're gonna get blackberry anything, stay away from blackberry crown unless you're gonna mix it. If you're gonna mix it, it's perfect.
that stuff is
But-
bleh.
Yeah, but stay away from it on its own. On its own, it's
That
horrible.
being said, if you are making holiday pies and you're making an apple pie, cook down the apples in Fireball and brown sugar bourbon.
Ah, nice.
Brown sugar bourbon.
BSB.
Hey, listen, if I'm getting apple pie though, it's gonna be moonshine apple pie. That's the only way I have apple
And the other thing I
there's
was
triple
told.
tracks for you, Jay.
The other thing I was told is that my TNT is a wonderful sugar equivalent to like a hot toddy. If you want
Okay.
to get some hot tea and pour in that as your sugar,
Nice.
Okay.
I was told that that does wonders. I have not tried it myself, but I'm sure I will.
Man, a hot toddy. I hadn't had one of those in 20 years.
Man, I had one the other night. It got so damn cold, I made my ass a hot toddy.
No, that makes sense. Are you only sober when you're asleep, or what is happening there?
Look, I'm sober most of the time. Every now and then you might, but I do love whiskey. I love whiskeys and vodka. I mean, hell, I remember when I was a kid, my mom would give me whiskey, like a little thimbleful when I have like a toothache or something. Oh, there you go.
When you say thimbleful, do you mean thimbleful or shot glassful?
No, I said thimble. You heard it right. Damn.
I know what you said, but that doesn't mean that's what it actually is.
Hey, that guy, you just stay in your lane, okay? Stay in your lane. Put your little Patriot symbol back on there, and let's relax. Calm down.
Man. So what do you guys got going on this weekend? Anything fun?
Oh no, I'm watching sports probably this weekend. I don't really have too much going on this weekend.
Nice.
Oh, I take that back. Nope, the wife is having a teacher sleepover, so all of her little teacher friends are coming over to sleep over, which means Jason will be in the man cave watching sports because I am not. That's too much estrogen in the house for me.
That sounds like a different stream series.
That sounds hysterical to me. That is hysterical. I could not allow that to happen at my house.
Oh man, trust
There would
me.
be way too many
Hey.
ways I would get in trouble.
Oh God, I know. Trust me, and some of them are pretty hot. I didn't say that. Be quiet.
That's what I'm getting at. Like I'm like, Jay, why are you in bed with that one or that one?
Oh no!
Or where's the other
Oh,
one?
it gets
What is she
better.
doing down below?
No, just better. Hey, quick story. So when I was away, I went and did a little volunteer project on the weekend. Jay could have been. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I call home and I'm like, "Hey, babe, is everything okay at the house?" Yeah, I just got a couple of my teacher friends. They're sleeping over tonight, whatever. And then I hear, "Yeah, we're gonna jump in bed with Mel because we like the bed y'all have." And I'm like, "What the fuck? Don't sleep on my pillow. You better not be drooling on my pillow." But So yeah, and then they go, yeah, we're gonna have a sleepover, and they're gonna be sleeping in the bed, and I'm like, son. And then my wife's like, yeah, Jay, you'll be on one end, I'll be next to you, and then all the other girls. I say, yeah, you think that's what's gonna happen?
Make me the J sandwich.
Oh man,
You guys be the bread. You know, if you have, it's like you get the pastiest on the ends. That's the white bread, and then
Man, it was funny too because hey, my wife, she likes watching Sister Wives, which is this show about polygamy in Utah,
this
right?
is starting to make a lot more sense.
Yeah, and I looked at my wife. I was like, "Hey, would you get mad if I took on a second wife, third wife?" She's like, "No, we're not talking about that. Maybe a sleepover, but that's about it." I'm like, "Oh, rock on, got you."
you make sure she has one of those sleepovers if I ever come down to Houston to stay with you.
You know what I'm saying? Damn.
That's right. Bring the extra pillows.
Yeah. Frankie wanted us to address his other comment that he put up there a couple minutes ago about Kyle Tucker.
Well, what?
Yeah, no, I saw it.
And where we think Kyle Tucker's going to go.
This show has gone off the rails really from the jump.
Hold on, is that sports?
Yeah, no,
sports?
exactly. We're not talking about that. This is the Friday the 13th show. We're just nothing but nonsense today.
No, you know what?
At least we're not glitching.
I'm still not, right? Like Comcast equipment is actually working. This is the weirdest day ever.
Bo, rein it in, Bo. It's not always about you. Let's talk some sports. Real quick. We only got like 9 minutes.
Right. Jay is the one trying to get us to talk about sports.
Listen,
that is the most ridiculous shit I've heard all day.
Other stuff, okay? Jay was being a good boy today. I was talking sports. No, but seriously.
Hold on, you were not talking sports when you're talking about Sister Wives and
oh no, that was after
no,
y'all started it. I just
so you're wrong. Actually, if you're doing it right, it's a sport.
Oh, high five on that one,
got to get yourself a couple of these.
Oh, bag.
It's got to be the full-on yardstick.
Well, he only needs the foot long.
Oh.
Well, no, it sounds like there's a group. You got to get them all at the same time.
Oh, golly, man. There you go.
It's like now we're playing drums.
Exactly. Oh, man. What a weird day.
I told the wife, I said, yeah, babe. Can you invite the principal for the sleepover too? Because I've been bad. So bad.
We're not going there, Robert. See, Robert, you're always trying to take it up to a level that we don't want to go.
Oh, what did he say? Did I not look at through the comments on that one?
Yeah, it's okay.
We're going to leave that one sit. That's not going to show up.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, this is broadcast on too many platforms for that one.
Yeah.
Man.
No, but seriously though, Dana Brown said he's listening to offers on Tucker and Framber Valdez.
Sure.
And it is what it is. I think just because you're listening to it doesn't mean it's going to happen. I cannot, for the life of me, imagine why the Astros would let go of Kyle Tucker. I mean, unless I know he's going to probably command about $500 million because he's King Tuck, right? I mean, he has all the accolades to command a $500 million, and maybe that would be the reason why the Astros don't re-sign him. Maybe he's going to be too rich for their blood, and if that's the case, then it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be some of the dollar figures that are coming down right now. Like if you were a free agent, this feels like the year, right? Based on the contracts that have been coming out, I feel like you could ask for a ridiculous number, and based on the other ones that have been signed, it's going to seem decent.
Right.
The Astros can afford him, especially if Bregman doesn't come back. The Astros can afford Tucker. The thing is,
oh no, they can afford him. It does, but just because they can afford him doesn't mean Jim Crane is going to come out and pay that kind. The Astros have never given that kind of a contract.
No, I agree.
But it was the closest.
The main reason why they're giving up Tucker is because they're ranked 29 out of 30 in farm systems. They want to replenish that farm system to get it back to where it was in the early 2010s when they had the top farm system. So like. The Cubs right now are the favorites to get Kyle Tucker because they're willing to offer 2 of their top 7 prospects. Well, those 2 of the top 7 prospects are also top 60 prospects. So they'll probably become the number 1 and 2 prospect in the Houston system.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. Look, at the end of the day, I mean, if they want to do that for prospects, then it is what it is, right? I was also hearing that maybe they were going to trade Kyle Tucker for Cody Bellinger, but
nope, that will not happen because of the Cody Bellinger has a vendetta out against Houston because of the sign stealing, and he's made it perfectly clear that he wants nothing to do with Houston. Like if all 30 MLB teams came and offered him a contract for the same amount of money, Houston would be the one team that he would not pick because he still has a grudge from that sign stealing issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you got right now, it looks like you're going to get Isak Paredes to play third since you're not going to have Bregman. You're going to get essentially most likely Seiya Suzuki to go play right field because you're losing Tucker. And then you're either going to get Cam Smith, who is our number 7 prospect. And I think he's like number 61 in baseball, or you're going to get our number 2 prospect, who's like number 23 in baseball.
I hate seeing Kyle Tucker go, but that would be palatable. You know, the prospects is where I really want. You know, if you're going to let go of Kyle Tucker, you know, we need to get some really good prospects out of it.
Yeah, because one of the prospects is a third baseman, the other one's a right fielder.
Yeah, and that would make sense. If you're going to let go of Kyle Tucker, that would make sense. I hate seeing him go, though. I'm a big Kyle Tucker fan, but it is what it is. But they better not let go of Framber Valdez, damn it.
Look at us talking about sports for 5 minutes today. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. In fact, if you haven't yet, definitely hit that subscribe button. We are 4 away from 800. And if you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Otherwise, we will see you all next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take it easy, everybody.
Let's go.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports.